Hey, what's up, guys? So today we are on a roof, of course, as you can tell, and we are looking at this guy right here. It's an older LENNOX unit, and apparently what it's doing is tripping the breaker. Watch out for our, for whatever reason, long, weird, extended drain line there. Yeah, it's not sure why they have to run it 9 feet away from the unit, but anyway. So this unit is simply tripping the breaker. About 10 or 15 minutes after they turn it on. If I had to guess, that sounds like it's kicking on maybe first or second, probably second stage if I had to guess. The unit comes on, eventually kicks into second stage, and then that compressor takes out the breaker. So I'm going to assume, before we do anything, just to see if I can predict the problem, I'm going to assume our second stage compressor is tripped out based on what the customer told me. Model serial number. This model number is kind of weird. I'm not real familiar with the LGA088. I would assume an 84 is a 7 ton, so this is like a 7 1/4 ton or something. Weird. So yeah, first thing, make sure we're off. I know we're off at the breaker downstairs. Just to be extra safe, I'm going to turn that off right there. And we're just going to visually inspect everything. Alright, so we do have 2-stage cooling. This is kind of popped out for some reason. Right off the bat, I don't see any obvious signs of arcing or melted wires or any of the telltale signs of something tripping a breaker. Let's check over here. Just checking my wires, making sure we don't have anything rubbing through. That belt's pretty loose and there's no spare. We'll have to adjust the tension on that belt. Yeah, this isn't hanging. Everything's secured nice and tight. So, I think what I'll do is I'll just pull the covers off, or pull the terminal blocks off my compressors, check them to ground real quick. There's our circuit number 2. I'm going to check that one first. I love how the wind is just shoving this door right in my face this entire time. I'm not a big fan of the wind. You know that, guys? I'm not a fan of the wind at all. Alright, it's not melted. Nothing crazy. Let's see if I can do this one-handed here. How am I going to do this? There we go. Alright. Well, it's not shorted to ground anyway. This one is, though. So our stage 1 compressor shorted to ground, all 3 terminals. I was betting on this one. Interesting. Alright, I got the breaker flipped back on. I'm going to turn the disconnect on. I'm just going to take a quick amp draw of my number 2 compressor. Number 1 is disconnected. I also took the 24 volts off the contactor, taped it up so it's nice and safe out of the way. You can hear our blower You can hear the belt flopping around. We'll have to tighten that up in a little bit here. I just want to make sure my number 2 compressor is operational before I do anything else crazy. Sort of like a big picture diagnosis, I guess you might say. I just noticed we are flashing a couple codes here, 91, and it was flashing 75. 75 is outdoor RT17 sensor problem and outdoor enthalpy sensor. Interesting. Let's take a look at that. The compressor doesn't sound real good at all. And right now I'm just bumping the contactor. 5, 9, 10, 10. 11, 12. Amp draw is just climbing. Discharge line is warm. Suction line is cool. Just the sound of that compressor kind of worries me. So real quick, let's go over here. We'll check our outdoor temperature sensors right back here. Pop this out of its little bracket. There's our little outdoor temperature sensor, RT17. And I'm just looking for wiring damage. Normally, since these go up into the coil, they're damaged. Yeah, I see right there. I don't know if you can see this. Let's bust this open a little bit, but it looks like right there. Focus in. So right there we have some broken wires. So I don't see any other problem. The sensor looks good. The wiring all in through here, around the side, and the other side of the condenser looks good, and all the way through the cabinet, that all looks good. So I'm just going to trim those back, wire nut them, put it back in there, and see if that's successful. Normally it is. It's a common problem on these LENNOX. And the other thing we have here is our solid state enthalpy sensor right here. And what I noticed as I was just messing with it, this thing popped out. Right there, this thing popped right out of it. So I'm no scientist, but I believe those spade ends that's attached to this terminal, those spades are supposed to remain inside of this solid state relay, or this solid state enthalpy sensor rather. So I'm just gonna have to get a new one of those. Simple. Got the sensor all fixed up, wire nuts are in, taped up. I'm gonna point these up just so they don't start collecting moisture. And we'll just tuck them back up in there like so. Yada yada yada. Tuck this little guy right back in there. Not sure if you can see that. Right. So I might have to throw a zip tie on there just to keep these wires nice and tight. So in the meantime, guys, I need to get 2 hands in on this so I can kind of tuck this wire up there and zip tie it nice and tight and secure. Drop this top back down, secure it all up, and then we'll see what happens after that. So I got the tension back on my belt here. Not bad. About a 1/2 inch deflection. Rule of thumb, you know. And as I was doing so, I noticed my pulleys are out of alignment. Now this drive pulley back there, not sure how well you can see that because it's so bright out here. It makes the inside of the machine really, really dark. Anyway, my drive pulley back there is about 1/2 inch-ish out of alignment with my motor pulley, or my blower pulley, I guess you'd call it. This is my drive pulley. That's my blower pulley. Anyway, the blower pulley is about a 1/2 inch out of alignment of my drive pulley right here. On top of that, both pulleys are pretty worn. If you can get your finger back inside that little lip that's on the pulley there, it's just got a nice deep bevel to it. And this one's even worse. So the way the blower is set up, there's no way I'm going to be able to move that blower pulley. And I mean, it looks rusted. The keyway's maybe not even down all the way. I'm not sure what's going on with that keyway, but I'm going to have to lube that shaft up real good, probably sand it off, and then I'm gonna have to put a pulley puller on it, I'm guessing, just to slide that over a little bit. But I can't put a pulley puller on there in the position it's in right now. So what I'm gonna do is quote new belts, new pulleys, and then when I come back, I'm gonna have to remove the motor and this motor mount right here, and then I can disengage the blower, the entire blower assembly, and then I can just slide it right out. I mean, you're talking probably 2-3 hours of work to take everything apart, adjust the pulley, and then you know, slide it all back in together. So what I'll probably do is when I pull that blower out, I'm gonna take that blower pulley, and when I put the new one on, rather, I'm gonna clean it up nice and smooth, obviously. And when I put it on, I'm gonna leave it out just a little bit to the right side here. And this way, when I slide it back in, it'll be easier. I can just tap it over with a hammer or something to line it up properly, rather than if I tapped it in or put it in too close to the blower and then I had to try to, you know, move it off to the right and try to pull it off there. It might not want to go. So that's what I'm going to try to do anyway. I'm all wrapped up here. So let's recap. This guy right here, stage 1 compressor, shorted out. Stage 2 compressor is working. It's louder than normal. It's louder than I like. The amp draw is within spec. It's cooling. I had a supply temp of 58 degrees with just the stage 2 compressor going. So I'm going to leave that alone for now and just explain to the customer that it's making a little bit of a noise I don't like. So we're going to replace our blower pulley, our drive pulley, both the belts, contactors, dryers, the whole 9 yards. The other thing I'm going to do too, since I have the blower out if they approve this quote, I'm also going to clean the blower assembly, and I'm also going to split this condensing coil. So I'm looking at least a full day of work here. Oh yeah, don't forget, we're going to do this outdoor enthalpy sensor. That's right inside of there. So yeah, outdoor enthalpy sensor, compressor, filter dryer, contactor, belts, pulleys, clean the blower wheel, clean the condensing coil. So yeah, it's going to be a fun day. So this is going to be part 1. I'll see you guys on part 2, all right? Take it easy.